Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the TTB stories today. We love doing the morning podcast. I'm really excited to be here this morning. You know the usual. I'm your host, and as well as we also have DM Matt as the other host. Today we have some pretty special guests on. Um, they're a company that we are hoping to do business with in the future. And well, today we're not here to talk about business. We're here to talk about just getting to know them and learning about how they got here, how they started, and I'm sure there's a couple other questions that our viewers out there have to ask. So, Matt, do you want to take over?
Yeah, hey, it's me. It's Matt. I'm always here. Welcome for joining us. Once again, something brand new. I guess we have to remember now is we got ads every now and then. So if you catch us halfway through a sentence, sorry about that. Try and keep an eye on it. But yeah, we're the Tavern Board. We're a community of TTRPG lovers and people who are interested in the community. And it's kind of been our own little niche corner of the nerd world, the Tavern Board. We've picked up people from time to time, but this is kind of our first big leap into meeting other companies and whatnot. So we're really excited to talk to Gneiss Games. They seem like really awesome people. But before we can get to that, we do have to say our spiel and talk about what's going on in the Discord. The first thing I would like to say is I'm so sorry. Wizard Kicker, who is on a job site right now, who said he's going to try to listen in. I couldn't help him out. He's the guy I work with all the time. But for the first time in months, my wife finally had a Friday off, so we're gonna go have a date night and all that stuff. So, or date day, I guess. But so sorry about that, Wizard Kicker. If you're already listening in, I'm so sorry. I'll try to make it up. But to everyone else from the Tavern Board, we have some fun stuff going on. We have a brand new event where GMs are swapping ideas from stories, such as I believe I was tagged in one. I accepted it, so I should know exactly what it is. But it is I have to
Hmm.
use a character's backstory to hit their heartstrings, I believe. Um, let's see, they're called August Callouts. There we go. Objective: hit home with one of your players at the table. Requirement details: something from one of your players' backstories affects their motivation in game, something along these lines. Basically, what we're doing is other GMs are calling each other out to do a little bit of a side quest. So this one came from Serps, um, and I haven't figured out who I want to call out yet because I don't want to. I want to be choosy with who I pick, but I've got something fun, which may or may not work with what we just worked with last night, Jacob, which is the Fae, because I love them. They're mysterious and creepy. Um, but yeah, last night we had our game, The World That Was Promised. I promise I'll stop snapping my pen in front of my microphone. Um, fidget toys. But yeah, you guys, you, Dobby, and your wife to be, were in a dog fight, some might say, with a literal dog, and a bunch of different demons, and they all just skirted away. And you guys found out it was because there were some Fae present, and these
I
guys
don't know
ate
about you,
Fae.
man. I would have fucking killed Claw, dude. I don't care how many fucking people spawned in. I would have. I don't care if it would have been my last fucking breath. I
True.
was killing Claw.
You had him on the ropes. You had him on the
I did.
ropes.
Oh man.
But yeah, we don't have to dive too much into it. Keep an eye out for the Frig's here. What's up, Frig?
More
Keep an
fit.
eye out for the GM callouts. Anyone else? I know Doc's looking for a couple more players.
Really fun Sunday game. Yeah.
Yep.
If you guys are
Pengoon.
interested in the game, Sunday. I'm a player in that. You guys know who? Oh, yo, what's up, sub?
What's up here too? Awesome.
Yeah.
Sub is going to be one of the playtesters, by the way.
Yes.
When we get to what we're talking about with Nice Games. But yeah, I know Pengoon, he just changed his name, so I'm going to try and stay on top of it. Now he is Mr. Worldwide. I know he's putting out a one shot just for funsies, just to get back into GMing. It's been a hot minute for him. He's been very sick. But who else? Is anyone else looking for players? at the moment?
I would say Dobby is always open for one more player.
That's right.
But it's mainly Doc. The Labyrinth is always going. If anybody ever wants to hop in, that's a fun one.
Hmm.
Um,
The
uh,
Labyrinth has a guest GM going on this month, which that would be next
Doc,
Thursday. So who knows who that
crazy.
could be? How many people run games on Thursdays? I don't know. Could be anybody.
I
Uh
think it's just us, honestly.
no, 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 no. Definitely not. Could be plenty of people. But yeah, I'll tell you what, after this ad's over, we'll have to get to our guests here because we got a lot to say and I've got a date to get to and other people have work.
See, there you
um
go. Frig's in a Thursday game.
there you go, Frig. There you go, Frig.
Frig,
It
who
could be
runs
anybody.
on Thursday outside of the server?
What was that?
I'm asking Frig if it's outside of the server.
Oh, it could be. Could be.
If it is, I'm
Um
gonna scream traitor.
no, but yeah, so our events kind of
Oh,
go like this. They're all kind of loose. Um but they're always really fun to be a part of. I'm sure, we've had some holiday themed ones. We've had some spur of the moment stuff. I enjoy the challenge. Um but yeah. Oh, Frig, who else runs on Thursday night? How am I not aware of someone else on Thursday night? That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, man, you don't know none.
must be bad at my job, I guess. Um, but cool beans. But yeah, hmm.
I'm
I
pretty sure it's
wanted.
here.
Is it Cure? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's Cure. Y'all are in a game with Grim or Cure.
Oh,
It's
gotcha.
it's definitely Cure. It's definitely Cure.
Gotcha. Very cool. But yeah, I mean, without further ado, we got about 30 seconds here before this ad pops in. We've got a lot of really fun things to talk about with Gneiss games. We're very excited. uh the amount of notes I took, I had to mad scramble because I only had this tiny little notebook. And Wizard Kicker actually was kind enough to toss me the last remaining work, like old school yellow paper. So there we go. I filled it up. It's maxed out. Um, but yeah, Dobby's games on Thursday.
No, he's talking. She's talking about who's in the game on Thursday with
Oh,
us.
gotcha.
Um, yeah. Do you want to introduce our guest this time?
Yeah, absolutely. Really strange coincidences were happening. There were some cowboy talks amongst our server. I have a cowboy game that's running on Saturdays right now, like an old western type feel. And I don't know if that led to what happened here, but we ended up meeting this company called Nice Games. There's some pretty awesome dudes who allowed us to kind of have this early access kind of alpha build of the game. I'm sure I'm butchering this, guys, but they have this Wild West kind of feel, as if fantasy met Wild West and expanded from there. Um, Kai and Mateo, Kai being the project lead, Mateo being the lead writer. If you guys would love to hop in, thank you guys so much for coming and being here with us. What did I screw up so far?
Um, as always says my mom, nothing more than your face.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly.
it's so howdy. My name's Kai. I guess you can say the founder of all this Wild West craziness that's going on.
Hmm.
As far as you were dead on. If I were to describe it myself, I was getting a little annoyed with the half attempts at making a fantasy western. It tended to lean a bit more into the fantasy side of things, like Thunder Junction, or really far into just the pure Western side of things, like Deadlands.
Hmm.
Nothing against those settings; they're massive inspirations in their own rights in different ways. But what I wanted is, I just wanted, can't we just have wizards and guns in the same thing? Why do we have to not? Why is it one or the other?
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
why do we have to choose? Why can't I have my cake and eat it? And so what we did is we essentially set out to say it's a Western with spells. It's both. You get your guns, you get your wands, and they can duel each other on equal foot and measure.
Right.
Um,
Give everyone guns. Shopkeepers had guns. Cattle drivers had guns. People just like pushing around cow shit had guns.
mm,
Why can't a wizard or a sorcerer? And I love that. I love that idea.
yeah, a cantrip just ain't enough.
That's right.
So Uh,
So
and
so my
so, which is to
question.
say, with the setting that we're just going with a nice mix of what I would call a traditional Western. You'd see things if you take a look into it that scream immediately to those movies and media that you're familiar with, and then lots of fantastical elements that I think you would be familiar with if you play D&D, and it's just a meeting of the two.
One thing that I think helps get you right into the Western feel of it right away is the book opens with the Gunslinger's will, the written
Mhm.
word of Daniel Margrave.
Daniel Margrave, correct.
Margaret, perfect. Look at that. Look at my memory. It's great. It's not. I've had too many concussions. But yeah, it kind of sets you in the world right away of a Western of maybe you just stumbled upon this will, maybe you pulled it out of a dead man's jacket, maybe you're the guy who killed him and you deserve this now. And it sets the story for the entire book, which is Daniel has gone and done and met all these people, and this is what his version of what he's seen and what he's experienced, which I
Mhm.
think is really cool. And my question to you, Kai and Mateo, whose idea was that?
Well, really quickly, I want Matt to get a chance to introduce himself
Hmm.
as well and kind of what he does because he's lead writer and he's basically my other half in this. Like this would not be the way it is without him. So if you want to introduce yourself a little bit too, Matt.
Oh yeah. I'm Mateo. I'm Argentine, born and raised. I
We're not all
obviously do
perfect.
still come. Yeah, I obviously do command the English language quite a bit.
Yes.
So there's no worries about the quality of the writing. I would say. In fact, we kind of overdo it a little bit with our flowery prose sometimes, but that's the charm I find.
Sure.
Um, yeah, that's the general idea of the Gunslinger's Guide is just to give a perspective, not a like blank. Just here's what the here's what the setting is. Here's everything. Here's the lore written from an entirely neutral, like non-committed, non-visionary front of
Hmm.
just here's everything. Go crazy. We're gonna give you this story, these judgments made by someone living who has lived experience within this world, who will have his biases and have his opinions about things, but will do his best to present them fairly
Hmm.
to through the general common sense of honor as seen in the setting. So it's definitely an interesting execution that we've done for it that I don't think I've seen done to this degree before in any D&D books.
Hmm.
And much in this project, a bit of a gamble, but I think it's paid off, and it's
Yes.
Yeah.
allowed us both to
Mhm.
express our creative vision in a very interesting way.
To quantify that just a little bit more. Basically, I've seen other settings have first person narratives for characters, but it usually dips in and out, or there's a small blurb, or in the few examples where it is the majority of things, the position of the first person is someone who is strangely kind of like a first person spoken neutral prose where
Hmm.
they're just kind of saying things and explaining things without anything being wrong, anything being right, anything opinionated. Uh, what we wanted to do is we kind of made a book that we said, well, what happens if Arthur Morgan's journal was based in the Forgotten Realms? Like, what happens if you could read
Right.
the opinions of the gunslinger as they go around? Margrave has had his opinions validated and invalidated so many times that he kind of has to think through them when he's describing a place, and you see that a lot where he'll kind of go down and I really don't like the sinking mud of Asquomi, but at the end of the day it is kind of a cool place. It's like
Hmm.
you can see you can almost feel his experience come through in what he does and doesn't like about things. So yeah, I Matt did a good job explaining it, but just as a little bit further is just that it's not an unreliable first person narrator, but it is something that I would say that peel it back a layer more, and you'll probably see what the real truth is.
Yeah, one thing I really like about it that maybe you guys did think about, maybe you didn't really think about, but I love the idea that giving it a first person view means that a GM can take that and totally mess with it and be like, oh no, this dude, he was a total drunk and wandering through this place, not knowing what he's talking about. He went to this place when it was thriving. Now it's a desolate, city or territory. And a GM can just like not change what you guys have, but he can take that and change who Daniel was, which I think is a really cool idea. They can play it straight. They can mess with Daniel's perspective. I don't know if that's something you guys thought about, but I think that's a really a fun way of presenting the world.
We want to answer that, Matt, because I think we very intentionally designed it
Yeah,
with
that
that.
was a very intentional
Yeah.
thing. It's the book in itself is all about a central theme of people living by their codes and their morals. So, in general, the perspective you take on something is very important to us, and it's what we wanted for DMs from the get-go. That's actually something that's very easily shown in our free one-shot, quote unquote one-shot that we put out last year after 9 months of hard work.
Yeah.
That's right.
Our one
Which I
shot,
would
not
say,
not the
yes,
alpha, but the actual one shot that we made before we ever even did the Kickstarter. We spent 9 months working on it.
Oh wow, yeah.
Getting the theme, the core idea down. Because what we wanted is we were working on what's the tone we want for this thing. What are we actually trying to achieve? And so that I guess you could say, if I were to give this kind of a spin, that kind of care and desire to do it right has come through in everything we've done. We've just ramped up production.
Very cool. There's Star and his soundboard. Star, what was kind of your because you got a hand on the book before me. I still had a full day of work. What kind of things stood out to you being the first time viewer of the book?
One thing that really stood out, I enjoy the arts. As much as like I like to read books and whatnot, sadly my retention for reading is really bad. It's very poor. A lot of the times I'll read the big I'll read books because I do enjoy novels and whatnot. But will I ever retain or remember anything from the novels is the next question. Usually my field of experience with D&D is actually through the game. When I'm forced to remember things, which is it's a terrible way of saying I need experience in order to learn. I can't read and play, sadly. But I enjoyed the book a lot. First off, I think the book was written in such an interesting way. I like the idea that it's not a story, but it's telling a story. With every race, when you're going through each one, um, the character, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Daniel Margrave.
Margrave, he's explaining what his
Daniel Margrave DM.
Oh my gosh, get
that's
out of
crazy.
here! We're not that dense. Dang it!
Yeah, we I mean, honestly, I'm surprised I haven't gotten a BAFTA yet.
Exactly.
not even an
Yeah.
NA.
But no, I do enjoy the way
You guys
that
are gonna freak out when you learn the villain of the campaign adventure is named Davian Maris.
How dare you?
but I did enjoy that the book was written in the opinion of DM. It's a new take and I enjoy it. I like it. One thing no, I pretty much enjoyed it. There's really nothing for me to complain about. I got stuck on Varmint though, and that's just what I'm going to be playing. I do enjoy the Varmint race. That is probably my favorite.
You can kind of over design a setting, I think, in some ways, but in some areas it's actually beneficial. When we designed the species, Matt remembers this because he was on the ground floor, obviously. We, I think, made like 15-ish to field and then narrowed it down to about half of them because we specifically wanted to encapsulate certain play styles and feelings, almost kind of like stories that we feel like people wanted to tell in the West. For example, the Ekmars, your Clint Eastwoodian Ekmar, the horse race, the humanoid horse race, Clint Eastwood, John Wayne style glory Western, like I want to walk into town and be the thing for that week kind of experience. Aramid are more craftwork, smoke signal, mystery, you know, kind of like art and experience and kind of the wonder of the West. Teketli are more inside of the native, you know, experience and the interplay of cultures of the West. And then, of course, Sundori are about disease, medicine, survival. Sasquatch are about the mysteries of the cryptid and the Fae and kind of the behind the scenes and environment. With as I'm leaving best for last is your hokey yeehaw kind of play where
Yeah.
they're the type to go in and go like, well, howdy y'all, like they're that kind of a character. And for somebody who wants to just have that bubbly I'm friend to all and enemy to none, but also I carry a gun experience, that's what the varmint was for.
Yeah, absolutely. And Star, you can't do that voice, right? That's impossible.
Which one?
Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all.
Yeah.
It's me, the varmint. I'm gonna be playing like this because fuck you, man. I can do what I want. But
I love it.
I'm gonna sound like the Western Mickey Mouse.
I love that.
Subcorm said, I
Fill
very much
your
enjoyed
hand, you son of a bitch.
Subcorm wrote that I very much enjoyed the writing on this so far. As a hobby writer and even newer to writing for TTRPGs, I really enjoyed the prose and prose and delivery of it. It didn't feel as mechanical as what I'm used to seeing. Cheers on that.
Yeah, not to sound too full of it, but we designed this because obviously Matt and I have read a ton of third party. We've read everything WotC's ever made. I've been around playing this since I was about 10 years old, fourth edition actually, back when I started, and so we've seen it all. I've seen old stuff. I've opened up old boxes from the 80s. Like I've seen it all. So we wanted to make something that was kind of, if you've read a bunch of third party, if you're somebody who owns all the additional supplements to 5 and 5.5 as it's now called, if you're somebody with everything, this isn't going to bore you to tears. It's going to at least be engaging enough that you'll want to read parts of it and explore and experience, and like DM Matt was saying, kind of do your own takes on what's going on. We very intentionally designed this as kind of being for the guy that has 3 other third party books.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels like a turn of the camera to like, this is fantasy, this is steampunk, this, and then you turn the camera and you're like, this is Western.
I will also caveat, if you're somebody who's new to third party, this is completely accessible to you. But if you're somebody who's starting to feel a little bit like all the third party books are blending together and you're even forgetting where certain things come from and which third party books, I'd say give it a shot. Give Rexfald a shot. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. But that's enough of the elevator pitch. To be honest, Matt and I, when we were going to write it, just decided, well, if we're going to write this, let's not bore ourselves to tears just writing a bunch of lore, right? We do enough writing the lore in the background, getting everything together, that we want, when we actually put pen to paper, we want it to be interesting and different, and for both DMs and players, you know, something that both parties can come in and like have a different experience. And that's just kind of the objective.
Mm-hmm. That's the advice I give to a lot of people who are like, how do I start making a campaign or a world or something? And in fact, Star was talking to Adri about it when she was looking to start her own little world that she was making. And I said, just have fun. Like, if you're not having fun, sure, you might get 1 or 2 people having fun, but if it's not fun to you, it's not worth putting 60 hours in just to run like one your very first game, you know, let alone the hundreds and thousands that it takes to make something bigger, you know.
I absolutely agree. Adri was telling me about that. Of course, right now, you know, life is just taking. She's just super busy. She's just a super busy gal. But sooner or later, the game will get released. And Matt, she told me you're one of the players apparently.
I did. Well,
Adri's hiding in the background. What up, Adri?
I'm leaving in like 5 minutes.
Um, but no, there. So when we originally gave this out to our playtesters, there was one thing that they were a little bit worried about, and they it maybe almost pushed them away until we got to talk to them about it. I kind of gave you guys a heads up about it, but the somewhat feeling 1-to-1 with Native Americans with I would say maybe two of the races. And it's something you guys say you get a lot of questions about. I just wanted to give you that platform to be like, this is kind of why we put that in there. You know what I mean?
Of course. So I mean, the specifics of the question you had illustrated to me were basically, hey, we're making a Western, and you have this element of the world where there are Native American inserts, something resembling of Native American culture. But we didn't just do the one species slash race that had it, but we did four. The main group is a thing called Teketli. They have three different subgroups, which are of the Tewa, Hanatal, and Nokotitlan, or the Nokat. And then we also have the Aramid, and we did a lot of work to make sure that the cultures of those are fully formed and fully realized, and have their own individual places on the frontier, and aren't just one big cultural monoculture, which is what I think the mistake a lot of Westerns make is. To preface this a little bit, I live in North Carolina, and quite close actually to the Cherokee lands that are in Appalachia, and we have quite a few people kind of in our crew, team, and adjacent who are checking everything we do to make sure that we're keeping fun and ahead of the game when it comes to the representations of these things. But we set out to make something as complex and as fully realized as Native American culture is in the real world. We didn't just want to be a monoculture. We wanted to be something that had 3,000 years, 4,000 years of history, rises, falls, cultural shifts, cultural changes. The way I'll explain it to you is just that we have those three main nations for digestibility, but within those nations, there are, I think Matt and I, depending on the nation, go between about 12 and 19 cultural subgroups. And then those subgroups split down into individual tribes, families, and then individuals. And all of those are, especially in the campaign adventure, are realized as elements of the setting that are important. The other thing too is, like, they're not monoculture, but they're also not direct homages to any one cultural group in the actual West. And we also went to great extents to not make them any one story. And what I mean by that is, you have this, and I'll talk maybe a little bit here at risk of talking on Westerns that I like for other reasons. There's this presentation of, like, the noble, the noble Indian, or as they'd say back in the old days, the noble savage, which I'm not a fan of, or of these horrible tribes, or this fight, of civilization, and blah 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 blah, and that's been pervasive in the Western ever since, both as it's presented and as a deconstruction of that. And while that's important to the history of Westerns, we thought that's just not how cultures work. That's just not how people present in the world. They are complex and they have multiple facets. And so we did everything we could to make sure everything is multifaceted, that there are people in in every Native society that are not just of those cultures and cloths, but of different varieties. I could really just talk at length about just all the different things we've done to make sure that they have, like, a very complex, deep, rich presentation, and to make sure that presentation is appropriate.
Okay. Before we continue, Matt, we have our comment section is blowing up. Did you want to add Frig to the call?
I feel like having Frig in here who gets to stop us to read off comments would be hilarious.
All right.
All
right, I'll add her.
As we get Frig in here, the one thing that I read, and my memory is terrible. I'm on my second read, so you think it would be better, but this is why I read multiple times. The Aramid, they're I don't want to call it birthing, but they're like reproduction. Did I read it right? Where like the community takes bits and pieces of themselves to make a new individual? That is really
Yes.
cool. That brings the term, it takes a community to like
Yeah,
the
it
whole
takes a
nother
village
level.
to raise a family.
Yeah.
Um, if we're going to do constructs, let's do constructs.
Hmm.
I don't mean this in a too disparaging of a way, but I kind of loathe the D&D thing where they say this looking at this construct, it's a person. Like it has nothing really like, yeah, sure, it's an auto gnome, but at the end of the day, this auto gnome is kind of just acting like a person that's made of metal. Where's the strangeness? Where's the construction? Where's the culture? Where's the, aramid are living smoke signals. When they're made, the community donates parts of themselves, either made of their own hand or of their own body, depending on which cultural group they belong to then weave into a quilt that becomes an aramid child. And as that child grows, as they do things, as they help and assist, more cloth is donated by the community to grow the child. Like, so from birth, the experience of an aramid child is one of community. And by the
Hmm.
time they're eventually choosing their mask and choosing what their outward presentation is, which changes over their life, they can always alter that. When they eventually adopt that, they've already lived 12 years of full experience in their community. But yeah,
Nice.
the soul of the aramid is a smoke signal that is channeled by the community together, and the kind of the character and soul of the child is built out of that. In the setting, all souls are elemental souls, so
Hmm.
in most settings souls are kind of this divine thing. In Rexfald, all souls are made of elemental kind of quintessence, and so a man might have a hot temper because he's got a fiery soul, or he might be stone cold killer because he's got a more earthen soul. Like, and your soul can change by the roads you walk. So the trail itself can change the very character of who you are, and this is kind of supposed to explain like why a person can change.
Right.
And it's up to, I guess you can say, DMs and players as to if that's a thing that's true or just kind of old wives' tale about how people change.
Which our first meeting that you and I and Jacob had, and Mateo, I kind of want to get your version of it because I
Hmm.
heard Kai's explanation of it. I kind of asked him what you guys are most proud of. If I'm going to use your guys' world, I want to know what you guys are most proud of, and I want to put that up front and forefront. Mateo, Matt's idea, the first thing he said was, I'm most proud that players feel like their characters have a story, and that story can change, and that character's being can change. How do you feel your game kind of like leans into that to help that make more sense and to help that happen?
Well, we took a lot of inspiration from many sources. Of course, we all stand on the shoulders of giants when it comes to writing, but specifically when we approached writing, be it the adventure or any of the encounters you may have during your time on the frontier, we took a lot of inspiration from our favorite media like Fallout New Vegas by Obsidian, which famously gives players a lot of choices, but these choices, unlike in many other games, have a lot of weight behind them. They have political consequences, they have social consequences, they have real, tangible consequences, and that's something that we strive for whenever we write anything that involves player choice and player agency. We do not like infantilizing the player and making things crystal clear. This is the good guy, this is the bad guy, there's two resolutions. We like to run a full gamut of story when it comes to the choices you make and how you really have to think about what you're doing when you're interacting with this world. That's what makes it feel lived in my opinion. That's why it inspires so much prose whenever I'm writing, whenever Kai's writing. It's just a very involved setting. Unlike a lot of, let's just say, more general fantasy where you feel like you're running through a fairly standard rail lined, just okay, so we're helping the good guy druids and the elves and all that protect nature against this world-ending threat. Um, there's three people in the party who have world-ending level. So, as much
Hmm.
as we all love Baldur's Gate 3, there are three nukes in the party. That's
Yeah.
a bit odd. That kind of thing.
Right. Right.
Um, we wanted
Uh,
them to feel real and tangible. Um,
awesome.
And I think that's
No.
that's my favorite part of writing this.
Very cool. Frigg, now that we have Frigg, Frigg, it looks
Yes.
like you're up, huh?
Okay, reading subquorum statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, subquorum states, I have Native American in my family by marriage and have experienced the culture adjacently by that way. I cannot speak for a Native individual myself, but my opinion from what I've read through the book so far has been respectful without leaning into negative tropes. I will probably play an Aramid.
Awesome.
First
Aramids are
off,
Thank you.
Aramids are the
There-
Yeah.
are the constructs, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
You know,
Also,
me
Yes.
I
and
love
Boa.
having Frigg here now. Frigg, you might have to join us all the time.
All right, y'all gonna have to send me reminders though, and I am not doing 500 a.m. Okay, you want me up at that time? Y'all gonna pay me? You're gonna send me some Venmo,
That's
and I'm
right.
gonna get me some big fuzzy slots.
I'll
I
send
love
you. I'll send you a dollar slushy.
this.
You know what? I could probably trade that up for a cabana boy.
Perfect.
But so Boa, as we all know, my best friend, he's also one of our playtesters and is also the person that I mentioned that is Native American. He and I are going for a duo dynamic in this game coming up, and we were actually thinking about playing Armids. We saw that and we were like, yeah, that's kind of hype. That's kind of fire. We enjoyed we enjoyed the idea that we like. I don't know if anyone's seen these videos of like how bees communicate with each other.
Oh, yeah,
So me and Bo were like, yo, what if we just dance our way through the entire game?
y'all gonna be bumping butts
But at the end of
big
it,
time.
we were like, we can't go that route, especially since we knew someone was gonna pick it up. There were like, we knew the crocodile was gonna get chosen, the crocodile or the alligator race.
Stone Tooth, yeah.
The Armid was gonna get picked, and then what was it? One of the vulture races was
Zundori.
definitely we're gonna get picked. So I was like, I'll be a varmint. I like to be the little guy. See, Matt's never played in a game where I was a nice person. He's only played in the games where I'm like a dick, a low key one. So when I'm a nice guy, I'm the sweetest thing on earth, and this is gonna be fun. I've played a selfless character before. I'm excited to do it again. The last time I played a selfless character, I did a selfless act, and I ended up doing something where my character was unplayable at the end. And I was so sad, but I was happy with the resolution because nobody got killed, and I was able to like help out to the best of my abilities. So I'm excited for the varmint because that is literally them.
The Varmin are really fun to me because their origin is from a great pollutive event called the Red Run that happened a couple hundred years ago. They're only a couple hundred years old in the 5,500 years of the frontier history. And it's really funny because the image we had of them was that this like skunk or squirrel goes into the muck and kind of has that kind of werewolf Frankenstein like awakening transformation, shadows on the wall, like kind of thing. And then when it pans over to him, he's just wearing overalls and it's like howdy, like like that. He gets the full werewolf transformation and comes out just a chill guy. And that was kind of the origin.
It's that real life ratio of that really nice guy that you just assume has had everything handed to him and has been great, and then when you actually learn, like, oh no, they had to drag through the muck and they're still that nice. That's that same kind of real life.
Yeah, you're getting
feel.
the Matt and I put a lot of effort into like the moral allegory of the setting. So yeah, varmints are literally first dragged through the muck and come out better people for it.
Right.
Yeah, right now I'm practicing my Spanish because if I do Spanish, I'm probably going to be a mariachi bard. But if I just sing in English, I'll be a regular. I'll be the other version of a bard. Oh, we got a first time chatter.
Uh-oh.
I posted a link in our server too, so you might get some people from.
Hell yeah,
Our
that's
side.
what we
Very
like.
cool.
super exciting.
Um,
But I am learning a bit of Spanish right now because if I do mariachi, I will sing in Spanish.
Buena suerte contigo, Soraya.
¿Por qué?
he's
I
got
said, good
Porky
luck
down.
with that, Star.
Yeah. So
Oh,
we
I
do
mean, I'm
have
half, so what do you expect?
right. We do have our tradition here when we get brand new chatters. We let them roll a d6 dice. Kai, Mateo, do either of you have a d6 on hand by chance?
I do.
Yes.
I actually have our
Oh.
bullet. I have the coolest
Where are
D6
my
ever. I
dice?
have our bullet dice, yeah, in my hand.
Oh, that I saw
Where?
those STLs. They look so cool.
Instead,
Um,
there we go.
Would you
I
mind
don't know if you
rolling
can
that?
share images, but I have images of them. But
Yeah, if you send them to me, I'll pop them up on screen. No big deal.
yeah, I got them right here. Well, I'll send you we just had an update about them, and so uh, I'll send you this really quickly because this is the full set.
Sure.
But yeah, I got a D6 right here, the second one in that that lineup.
Yeah. Would you mind rolling that for us?
Sure, why not? That is a
Rolling my
2.
own.
Okay. All right.
And mine is a 4.
Perfect.
You guys are screwing us. You guys know that, right? The players.
So what the secret dice system is, usually when we play, I have my camera going on. I don't have my camera up at the moment, but I have like 2 full pages of brand new chatters, and every time they come in, they roll a d6, which is going to something mysterious happening on our Thursday night game, which is gonna be a real treat once they figure out what's been going on. But it's also a nice little mystery for the people who randomly get to pop into the chat from time to time. But yeah, we can definitely talk about that some other time. It's fun. We're happy to have you here, Dan. Um, but yeah, I don't have a whole crazy a lot of time tonight. Like I said, I get to go on my first date in literal months with my wife. I do have a question for both of you, if that would be okay, kind of to break up what we're talking about.
Of course, you need to shoot. Don't talk.
I love it. I love
Go
it.
ahead.
What are the chances you guys could join us again another Friday before we start this game?
I mean, I'll answer for us. So we're free. We work on Fridays and we work all day on the setting. We can probably make time.
I think it would be really fun to keep picking your brain as I'm working on what I'm working on. Because you guys kind of mentioned your story and your guys' mind is finished. You're just still writing it, you know? And so you kind of gave me permission, as long as I'm remembering correctly, 'cause once again, terrible memory, but you guys kind of gave me permission to do like a little bit of homebrew with a story. Is that correct?
Yeah, to answer that question in 2 ways. The first thing I'll say is just that we didn't make something that's stagnant. We're not garters of the endless west. We may have expansive minds, but they're not quite endless yet. And so we're always welcoming more of different takes and inspirations on stuff. The west itself was made for inspiration. That's the first thing I'll say. The second thing is just that although everything is morphing, growing, and changing in those ways, we like what people come up with, and we invite it, because the reason we did this is that we wanted to give westerns a home and let it fit into stuff while also being its own thing.
Right, having its own place to play as well.
Yeah, basically my feeling is I love people to start in Rexfald and end in their homebrew world in a way. I'm not
Very cool.
I'm not so gatekeepy of just like, you must play the thing I've made. It's more just stay where you're happy and your players are happy. If you end up if you end up going more into the dark cursed cryptid side of things, make it more dark cursed. It's easy enough to make. If you want to go more glorious and traditional Rexfald, go that way. If you want to go more steampunk and lean a bit more into things that we didn't really include so much with a new age of industry, by all means. It's not made to flex infinitely, but it's made to bend. It's made to adapt to the trail you walk.
I like to flex infinitely.
If you want to be Space Rangers, well.
Yeah.
Are you Space Marine? Are you a Warhammer fan?
Initiated. We have knowledge about Warhammer. That's play some of the video games. It's very hard to get to playing that kind of game
It is.
At least for me, being in the third world,
I I
quite
actually don't
expensive.
I don't mind the lore of Warhammer, although it's not exactly mine because Warhammer very much devolves into things are looking better until it's grimdark, right? I'm just not a grimdark fan personally because it feels like the rug gets pulled a lot, and you can only do that so many times before I'm just like, oh, okay, you know. But
Yeah,
that
that's
being
true.
said, I do actually enjoy some of the more lore-based elements and the aesthetic of Warhammer. Although I'm not a fan of some of the balances they do with their the actual gameplay, which is what I do things for. I really like the gameplay of like D&D and other things. And so when I played Warhammer, when I play Warhammer, I like this is fun, but I feel like a person who just adopted Magic the Gathering and I have my first deck and he pulls out 9 cows and I realize I'm dead.
Matt, what are you doing right now? All I see is
Those
this.
must be some very angry cows.
You
I
know what I
see.
mean?
I
Yeah,
see
it
a.
just
I just see a white screen all of a sudden.
I didn't do it.
we lose them.
I think he's trying to put your bullets up on screen for everybody to see, but he's having a hard time doing so. Right now, we have Heresy in the chat. Apparently, Doc is a
Yes,
big fan.
Mr. Grimley.
Yeah, Doc is a very big fan of Warhammer. He's a huge fan. And so yeah, I believe him on that one. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of lore behind
it's
it. I think it's great. It's just too much for me sometimes.
it's a
Because
guilty pleasure of mine, because you're looking at 40 years of collaborative world building history when you look at Warhammer, and I really enjoy that. I just think that the writers of Warhammer range so much in quality because there's all different people over the years that it's just something I either love it or I hate it. I like the Fall of Cadia. I'm laughing because of something Matt said the other day. Just some of the things from really early Warhammer can just be really just like wow, you know.
You could only get away with that stuff in the
Yeah,
80s.
in the 80s.
dude, don't even get me started. I was showing a coworker a video from back in the day, um, of when I was a kid. I watched very low humor videos because my brain. I'm very. It doesn't take much to get a chuckle from me. I'm I'm very easy to make laugh. Um, we have another first time viewer, Chatter. Um,
Learn Bodin.
go for it, Frig. Take it away.
It also does not help that a lot of Warhammer hasn't aged that well, especially since it's been pushed further into the mainstream without really adapting. So you now have it catching on amidst the most insufferable people around. For some
Oh,
reason, I can feel that.
oh man, that explains
I
so much about Doc right now. I'm joking, Doc. I
I'm gonna
love
have
you.
I have a hot take on the hot take. I think all games have always had weird people in them, and sometimes it can get pushed to the mainstream due to differing factors. But I've never had a game where I haven't had good experiences at conventions with. So
Yeah.
I do think that about Warhammer. When I was at like my lowest point, like before I did this, I literally was chucking packages at Amazon. Um, I you know the guy that kind of like had my back the whole time there got me in the Warhammer, you know. And when I was the poorest, he would dangle his expensive little plastic in front of me, almost as if to taunt me, but in a way which I enjoyed. And I remember going to the games workshops after chucking packages for 10 hours, you know. And so I think, and that was just 3 years ago. I think there's always good people in all these groups. I just think Warhammer gets a bad rap because the larger community gets, the larger the amount of that percentage gets. Like it's the percentage stays the same, but the number of people
Oof,
in the percentage grows.
oof. All
It's
right,
also
so
Yeah.
definitely a harder
hold
to
on
access setting.
before we go on. So we do have another message. I don't
Mhm.
think Frig can see it because they used a word in their thing that that made Twitch be
Okay,
like,
it's been
eh.
censored.
A
Yeah.
harmless word or
Okay,
what's
well,
going on?
let me see if I can puzzle it out. Because I read a lot. I'm nearly 50, and yeah.
You got it. You got it. You got it, Frig.
Okay.
You got it, Frig.
What do I win?
Um,
I'm
a
putting bets
dollar
on the line here.
slushy.
Star
A dollar slushy.
Star has a soundboard that has claps on it.
Oh, I got you. Oh wait, no wait. I got something even better for her.
Okay, so I want sounds. I already have the duck. I want sounds. All
Fine.
right, so Glarn Budan says nowadays, though, you can't so much as mention aliens and humans interacting without a brigade of absolute brain trust coming in and belling about purge the heretics, and
Heretic.
I'm going to presume it says death to the Imperium or
Very
kill the
close.
Imperium,
Uh,
murder the Imperium.
Very
I
close.
Very
Yeah.
close.
I will
Now,
again because
to
I will
be
make
fair,
a
gentlemen, I
yeah,
know nothing about Warhammer, so
fair enough.
You're
I'm just
good.
guessing.
There is a slight issue with two products I love, which is that's a little loud.
All right. Sorry.
No, it's
You
fine. I couldn't hear
start.
myself think.
Yeah.
So there's a slight. Again, I guess maybe if I were to speak my piece on this, I love two things. I love Cyberpunk and I love Warhammer for their own respects. But there's a lot of LARPing in those communities where you can't really talk about the product sometimes because you'll say, actually, I like Tau, or hey, I think this about David Martinez, and somebody will go and say, hey, what you gonking about, Choom? And you're just like, please leave me alone.
What
Like,
are you talking about? Hume is a
you
crazy
know you know
guy.
what I mean? Like it's just like I don't mind it, but like I'm trying to have a discussion about the literary themes of cyberpunk edge runners, and this guy over here is crying about Rebecca in the corner, and I'm trying to talk about Warhammer and about how, hey, I like the long range version of Tau, and there's 900 comments saying purge the Xeno scum.
Yo, hot
I
take. Rebecca should have died.
should have.
Should have. Would have made it much better.
I think you should watch it again.
I fucking love. That's one
I
of my
think you
favorite
I think
shows.
you may have did you tap out, or did you miss the release?
No, he just
Um,
looked
The
away.
whole thing, I love Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk Edge Runners has to be one of the best. It reminds me so much of an anime way back in
do
the
you
day
do you
called.
mean that it was important to the story that she died?
Yeah.
Spoiler. Okay, you said should have as if you had missed something. I'm like, I
No.
think
No. She
had
should
a
have
had a
should have died sooner when with her brother.
had a power outage. Um,
She should have died sooner with her brother. That was the big thing. You remember Gold Hands?
but to what you're saying, Lauren, basically, I think the LARP in some of these communities, they're well-meaning people. It's just that like I don't. You look at their accounts and they post that thing like 400 times. I'm just like, after 372, is it still? I don't know. I guess they still have enjoyment out of it.
Right.
There are
How
worse communities.
yeah, absolutely there are. Frig, you've got your work cut out for you now, I guess. Hey, we got Wizard
Yes,
Kicker. I
sir.
like it. Go ahead, take it away.
So I need to start learning on Warhammer then.
I would start with the Wizard Kicker's
Well,
comment.
well, I would like to say too, because I like talking
Okay,
about
so
Warhammer, but
Superman,
I do.
aka Henry Cavill, loves Warhammer, so it has to be great. Grim says, LOL. Glenn clarifies that the missing phrase was glazing.
I
Note,
know.
I have no idea what the fuck that means, so don't just mean stuff on donuts to me, thank you.
It means
Grimly
giving
says,
praise unfairly. Like if you're just giving it praise because you give it praise, there's no reason for it. You give it too much
oh,
praise.
The
so
community glazes me a
participation
lot.
trophies.
Hmm.
I get that, participation trophies. Alright, so Grimly says, calls out for the Emperor, and Glenn clarifies, yes, exactly. The LARPers are just quote unquote everywhere with Warhammer 40k. And Seth Corwin pipes in, that's how you get zeroed.
Probably
That's
my
right.
comment
I'm
about
presuming
Rebecca.
Yeah.
probably
I
for the censored comment.
I wish we had LARPers.
Hey, you guys send me a cowboy hat, and I'll do the whole thing in a cowboy
Yo,
hat.
same.
Yeah.
I will turn on my. Listen, if you can get me a thing
I
of freaking straw
Just
wheat.
order it, and I'll just Venmo you, dude.
That's what
Yeah,
I'll do.
man,
It's
I
illegal
love
for me
the.
to send you a Gila monster.
I yeah, so my PO box, no, just kidding. I'm actively holding my axe pistol just for inspiration as I'm going through it. Which I
You
bought
put
at
your eye
Rexfald.
out.
I could. I need to put it higher because my kids, it is reachable at the moment. I should definitely put it much higher. But no, not to go too far away before we kind of wrap up here, because
Mhm.
once again, I have a date and it's awesome. But I don't want to leave without mentioning again your game. And there's a few things that I thought was really cool. There's a few things you guys talked about today that I want to dive into. You were talking
Mhm.
about there were different races before you kind of said, let's shelve these ones. Could you give us an example of one of those races?
They all had different angles on them. Some died messy deaths on the board of playtesting. Other ones just kind of weren't ever fully realized. We had a kind of sins of man come to real thing called the Peregrino that was a celestial for a while. That
Ooh.
one just kind of didn't quite fully form because it was too heavily coded and felt a little too inflexible for the setting. But we also at one point had a thing called the Wormwood that was a plant race that had too many options, was too pervasive, and the two people that playtested it just playtested it in a way that we weren't happy with, so it got cut. So there's just been a couple throughout time that just never quite made the cut.
Now that's
I
an interesting comment. How do you
that's
play test without and get hold on.
What's the question?
You you said they play tested in the way that you weren't happy with. How does one do that? I'm curious.
So one version was just that sometimes you make an ability for something that is too easily made into ridiculousness. One of the wormwood types was a sequoian, so like a really large treant kind of version with like a redwood
Mhm.
vibe. And because redwoods have this like protective sap that protects them against fire, it was a treant that had fire protection and like could spread seeds and stuff. And so we had my good friend Mark going around spreading his seeds everywhere and
ah
giving nuts to people, and I just you can just see the problems.
yeah,
Oh,
yes.
that's
um
beautiful. That's
and
Oh,
so
beautiful.
that
that was
went downhill.
the other one was just that sometimes you make a thing, and if it's not in enough of a, I guess you can say like a aesthetic design like pocket, it can kind of become everything. And the wormwood was kind of being too much of everything, right? So it's the sort of thing where 3 sub races kind of just feels like you're trying to bridge the gap between 12 sub races.
Mhm.
And so when we had questions of why don't we do one that's like a weeping willow, why don't we do one that's like a sequoia, why don't we do one that's like a joshua tree, why don't we do one that's like a cactus, like it just became
I
Mhm.
so
I had
expansive
Yep.
that I wasn't for it anymore.
I had that exact same problem. Star and I and a few others were working on a project that's kind of on hold just from busyness. And I made a plant race as well. And I was like, yeah, so some are trees and some are shrubs. And then my partner that I was working with, OT Cleric, was like, some could be twigs. And I was like, some could be twigs. And we just kept finding that and this and this. And plants are just so varied that it's hard to stop.
It is.
So
Mhm.
I hear you.
Um,
But
have
that's
you
kind of what happened.
did you think about, like, instead of it being like a race for players to play, did you ever think about making it into a potential like NPC or monster?
Some did go that way. Mostly that most of the
Mhm.
Peregrino stuff got turned into red saints and gray judges. Um, those two celestials that are in the stuff kind of got transformed from this idea of like the redeemed, like the idea of the Peregrino was angels turning themselves mortal to try and live a better second life. And when the lore changed, it kind of didn't fit, but it did fit for monsters. So we have red saints,
Hmm.
which are devils that change their nature enough that they literally climb their way to heaven and become angels, and gray judges, which are kind of like fallen angels. If an angel makes a bad call, they can be cast down. And so, and giving a quick synopsis of those two things, they're more than the sum of their parts. But it's
Hmm.
sometimes change. The Matt knows the actual change that happened is we ended up making a, it's not really two-headed, but two-faced fae called the Mai Yi. That's like a two-faced coyote.
Yes.
And it got written to a bunch of lore, and so we already had the 6 for the core book, but we added in a free 7th species to the campaign adventure of the Mai Yi.
Very
The
cool.
Mai Yi in like, our, we didn't have like a, one thing that we're kind of missing was like this kind of gambler luck-esque version of the West. Now we do have that with like Fortune, College of Fortune Wizard, but we didn't
Hmm.
have enough of it. The Mai Yi are famous because they beat dragons at gambling so bad that dragons got addicted to hoarding stuff. That's the Fey lore of it.
Well, that
Basically,
sounds like my story.
cool. But I'll send you a royalty. But it's we do try to be somewhat original with the stuff, but there's the West has been so trod. Uh, Basically, like with the Mai, that was something that was a monster that then got turned because it was a cryptid, and we won another cryptid option into a player option.
Very cool. Very cool.
There's comments.
I was gonna say, let's get to that comment, that question, before I do kind of have to stop us short here for the time. I could go on forever, but I didn't want Glaren's question to go unanswered here.
For
Oh, we got
Kai
more
and Mateo, I question: what are some monster concepts for Rexfald that you're still unsure about how to approach? And then future question: is the future focus for Gneiss going to be continuing and growing of Rexfald, or do you guys have plans for other themes or worlds in future releases?
Ooh.
I'd like to say first what kind of like my monster bone to pick is, and I'll let Matt kind of maybe say what his is, and then I'll tell you kind of the future plans for the company. My thing that I'm always like I feel like I'm like kind of airing out my collar about is cryptids. We do, in my opinion, quite good takes on cryptids that are really different from their lore while still feeling original. Like, with you even took some risks on doing things like Wendigos, because those often turn into things that aren't so interesting. But we added in like possession and spirits hiding in the dark of the body because they're cryptids associated with darkness. And if the way you cure a Wendigo thing is by illuminating the inside of the body and things and so on and so forth, kind of like aliens. And the issue is just that with cryptids, it's just like I add a cryptid, and then every single comment after is, "Can you add in the Wisconsin Wuzzler? What can we get the Wisconsin Wuzzler? Where is it?" And we're just like, "Well, we have the Hodag." I thought it was cool. And then Matt got on this thing for a while where we were going to add in the Fresno Nightcrawler to the game, and I don't know what we were thinking about that. That has constantly bugged me because every time I look at videos of the Fresno Nightcrawler, it's a big kind of like it's almost like it's just two long pale legs with like a face at the top. And so what were we thinking? Like cryptids are the thing where I feel like there's stuff I want to include, but then when I never feel like I include enough, but then when I go to include more, I just feel like it's not quite fitting. It just makes me pull out my hair. Cryptids are something I love, and I love their inclusion in the setting as a bit of lore, but I want unique takes on them. So while I'd like to include the Wisconsin Wuzzler, we have to keep the cryptids somewhat limited. And Matt, I don't know what your monster stuff is.
As for my specific monster that I find trouble in, funnily enough, as I'm filling out quite a bit of monster lore in the last few days, I actually find a lot of difficulty in producing undead, because what's in 5e already covers so much of what's pretty much everything else about undead in the setting. So it's complicated to make new types of undead without just retreading on usual ground. We have been successful at that. We have a couple of dried out desert corpses and that kind of thing. But when I was trying to include some Argentine legend into the setting, I was trying to include this concept of the Bale Light, the evil, and a sort of cryptid legend thing we have here, where it's a spiritual force that guides people towards lost treasure. How do you do that without it just being a will-o-wisp? Because ultimately, in appearance, it is just a will-o-wisp, and
right,
it's something we've struggled a little bit with, but I would say we've come to a pretty good point in there. Ties to lore and in coming up with a few new interesting undead to have in the setting.
If I can addendum that a little bit too, because I agree. When we're making undead and things, it's very easy to fill up your Western with a bunch of like gunslinging zombies. Nothing wrong with that. But when we make something, we want it to be something with a lot of stretch and like placability. Like when we make subclasses or monsters or anything, we don't want it to just be this only exists in this 5% of the West. If you want to put a Pomola in your setting, a big moose-headed fae thing, it should kind of fit in traditional fantasy. Like it shouldn't just be completely jarringly out there, And so adding in a bunch of like hanging judges and stuff was something that we just tried to avoid because while we have ghost riders in the sky and everything, but we kind of wanted to make it so it wasn't just a Dullahan. Like we wanted to make these takes be unique and original.
Gotcha.
But still have flexibility. And undead are a very inflexible monster type, in my opinion. Sometimes it either revolves down to bones. It's either bones of a guy, or if you die by drowning in a full moon in the Lake of Ear, you know what I mean? Then you become a Gibbsy or whatever, right? Like that's how undead tend to go. As for the future plans, we have future plans.
Sure. You don't
next
have to tell us. You
Oh
I
no,
mean,
we
you can
have it.
keep your
We've already
secrets.
have it stocked. Like we're already working
Okay.
on them.
Okay.
We try not to work too much on them because we really want to make sure Rexfald gets the full attention. But we pre-prospect. We have an art director starting in about a week that is going to be taking over that kind of side of things for the future. The first thing we have planned is a thing called Hylix's Hive of Dragons. That is a dragon book with Dragon Hive dungeons that we're doing because had a talk with one of our backers and I went looking for bug dragons and it was just such a rarity that I decided to make some. That's kind of a one for us kind of thing where we just wanted to make it because there was a gap and I wanted to fill in that bit of fantasy. The next thing we're making after that is a thing called Brittle Atlas, which is a Dishonored inspired icebreaker kind of exploration setting. I would say it's like high fantasy Dishonored.
Oh, very cool. Very rad. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
you guys'
pantry.
stuff is very cool. I look forward to seeing anything else that kind of comes out. The funny thing that happened is right when you started talking about the future, we jumped to an ad. I was gonna warn you, but you're already in it so deep. But I did want to take a second. Star, you were having a little bit of...
The future of the company is paywalled officially.
Yeah. You'll never get past these ads.
Really quickly, two things we have planned up is a thing called Hylix's Hive of Dragons for those who missed. Bug themed dragons, Horde Hive, Dragon Dungeons. Next thing is a thing called Brittle Atlas. It's like high fantasy Dishonored, all based around icebreakers and fighting big things called Leviathans.
Love it. Absolutely love it. It sounds like we have
thing about
Star
that
back
is,
as well now.
well, I don't feel like there's
What the hell?
I feel like there's good Kraken combats or anything like that in D&D. So we wanted to make something where you have a big vehicle and there's a special type of combat that's called Leviathan combat, where it infects the rooms of the vehicle and you have to like kick it out of each of the rooms of the vehicle to defeat it.
Oh God,
So
Nelson.
So it's not just like go attack the head and keep dealing points of damage. It's like try to remove it from like it might like to give you the idea. The Kraken tentacle goes into the armory and then like grabs a bunch of weapons and starts swinging them around. Like that's kind of what happens as the Kraken.
A little bit like FTL, if anyone's played that.
Yeah, it's like FTL a little bit.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, for those of you who joined us tonight, thank you so much. And for those of you who maybe missed any of their future talk, I guess you'll just have to tune in next Friday, right?
Something to think about for next week. Lauren Bowden says about monsters and whatnot. My first thought, how about something like Miner 49er from Scooby-Doo? Undead miner / prospector with some earth abilities.
Well, there you go. You'll have to sit
Something
on
to
that
ponder.
for a week, gentlemen. I am currently off to my first date in forever. My wife finally has a week off. I'm very excited. But Star, you had a little bit of technical difficulty, so we lost you for a little bit. I want to give you like the last little out here.
Oh, thank you. You're so generous.
Sorry.
What's up, guys? Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate Kai and Matt for Mateo for joining us tonight or this morning. Sorry, usually these are happening at night, but thank you guys for joining us today. We do appreciate it very much. I'm super excited to work on this project, and hopefully maybe some other projects in the future. We'll see how it goes, but yeah. Thanks.
I did put a link into your guys' website in the chat. And maybe I'll have a button for it next week that people can click and whatnot. But yeah, Kat and Mateo, or Kat, jeez, Kat and Mateo.
And Mateo with a
Hilarious.
silver spoon.
Yeah, seriously. Little boy doing
It is time
okay.
for DM Matt to check out,
Don't
people.
tell Cole that happened, Matt, or I'll kill you.
I won't. Yeah, nothing.
We
ever
have
happened
we have a person that we enjoy very much who would never let me live that down.
But let me do take two here. Kai, Mateo, thanks for joining us, guys. We look forward to talking with you soon.
It's been wonderful.
Yeah, of
Yes.
course.
Thank you for having us.
All
Hell
right.
yeah.
A pleasure
And
meeting you, gentlemen.
yeah, meet free.
Pleasure
This
is
is
ours.
free. But as always, from the Tavern Board, deuces mooses.